Hey cats, it's your midsole man here, EDDBUD. Some viewers recently shared with me some images from a new collection from PUMA. This is PUMA's Fast XP collection that they're going to have on show in Tokyo very soon. I thought it'd be interesting to check out some of these designs. Are they just wacky concept ideas, or could they become running shoes in the future? Let's take a look. Thanks for joining me on the channel, it's always appreciated. If you're a regular viewer, do hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of the content. Give this video a thumbs up like and drop us a comment for the algorithm. Dankeschön. So checking out the PUMA Fast XP collection today. So a load of new concept designs that PUMA have unveiled. Are these viable running options though? Let's take a look. Some of the technology that we've got here does seem to be magnified from the existing range that PUMA have. Perhaps a looking glass into the future. There's some bonkers ideas here, it has to be said. I mean, can some of them actually be made into actual products? I think maybe, but others not so much. So there's a big slab of Nitro Elite foam here, positioned between what can only be described as a spring. There's kind of two carbon plates there, and you've got the foam, wedged in between. There's no heel here, and no chance that this is even close to being track legal, and a large protrusion in the heel there that's apparently to facilitate longer events. I mean, you'd have to have some pretty substantial form to be able to utilize this shoe, I think. Almost nothing back there. I'm sticking with no chance on this one. The shorter track distance events have specific midsole limits, which are easily broken in this shoe. The upper looks lighter at least than the very thick material that was on the FAST-RB, a shoe that was interesting but sadly not all that functional due to the extremely heavy weight. I mean, this shoe does look absolutely insane, but it's such a heavy shoe that I think any real benefits that you got out from having all this foam and these plates were kind of negated somewhat. Some of the foam actually that featured here was really, really firm, certainly in the heel here. It's getting on for like rubber almost. Next up is the Fast XP LVT. This is aimed at vertical height, so leaping higher, and I think probably aimed at PUMA's pole vault athlete. Two midsole layers here and an outsole stiffer container around that softer core. It's an interesting approach for sure. I'm surprised that PUMA haven't sort of delved into that a little bit more in some of the training shoes. We did see something similar to that in the Forever Run Nitro. An interesting approach, carved out arch area here and toggle lacing and a protruding front plate at the toe box area. Again, this isn't going to be track legal due to the stack. Would reducing down the stack have the same properties if you still use the same kind of approach up in the mid to forefoot area? Again, it's more about the athlete here. I think Mondo is the key factor when it comes to pole vaulting. He's just better than everybody else. Next shoe is the Fast XP PLS. Please, this isn't a shoe, right? I can't see how this midsole will be at all consistent or stable underfoot. Its ridges will be better suited to like a boggy trail than road, perhaps. It reminds me of something that you might see in like G.I. Joe or something like that. This looks the most photoshopped of all the images. Not to say they won't have a concept pair to look at, of course, and for people to try on, but for all but most the courageous and foolhardy, I don't think that this is a viable option for a running shoe. I think it's fun to look at, but is it going to be all that enjoyable underfoot mile after mile? It just kind of looks like an on shoe really, doesn't it? Fast XP SPG is next. Now this looks like an actual shoe, a revision of the Fast RB, similar upper materials here, perhaps with a slightly more see-through quality to the top of the toe box. And that massive foam though, the dual carbon plates, it meant that it was a very noisy ride. When I tested out the Fast RB from PUMA, it was so loud it drew comments from people that were like walking by as I ran past. I went to use it up at the local trading estate, so I thought it'd be a bit quieter up there, but I was mocked. One chap in a garage even asked me if I needed some oil. It was so loud and the plates were kind of squeaking together. That said, I think that the Fast XP SPG is probably the most likely of the shoes to receive an actual release. I mean, it's Certainly an iteration of what this was, isn't it? It's very, very close. Though sadly, the FAST-R is still available. The one with the laces, 299 quid. You can grab one of these in the UK. No discounts allowed though at Start Fitness. They seem unable to be able to shift them. There's loads of sizes available. Just, if you do pick them up, watch those door frames, okay? This is an aggressive looking track spike. What appears to be closer to track legal as well. It almost looks like the plate wraps round itself in the heel. Maybe it's just rubber. It's hard to say really from this image. The stack is more in keeping with existing spikes. The strange talon at the front of the shoe really sticks out. Do you get it? This is probably the most viable of all the shoes though. The track spikes are a hard sell. A very niche area that always ends up on sale or in discounts after a while. People are hard up for cash for standard trainers, let alone niche options that you can only use on specific surfaces. You know, tracks are quite inaccessible to people as well. That's a big problem. So this one, I can see it perhaps releasing, but there's some very odd design elements there that I just can't see working on the track. People just want light and simple when it comes to track work. This collection is available to view on Saturday the 13th of September at the PUMA Nitro Lab in Tokyo. So if you're about, go check it out. I'm not sure whether you need like tickets or you get specially selected or something, but I'm sure you can find out more. Maybe some of this tech will eventually materialise or sort of trickle down through to the Puma running lineup in 2026 or 2027. Let's not forget that people scoffed when Puma released the FAST-R NITRO ELITE. People were like, what? You can't make a running shoe like that? You've got to have foam everywhere. I mean, Puma were doing wacky stuff like this back with the Ultra Ride, I think it was called. I remember reviewing that shoe and they had this similar kind of vibe going on. So it's nothing crazy new. I think they've just got some better foams there now. People are buying up the FAST-R 3 on site. It's one of the most sought after shoes at the moment. Puma seems to keep the stock very scarce though in a bid to increase the hype and desirability, but for every FAST-R 3 there's also a FAST-R which is still on the shelf. Though I think when you deal directly with wholesale distributors then it isn't as much of a problem for Puma as it could be for other brands. What's your take on these wild concept shoes? Will we see any of this technology actually sort of creep into running shoes of the future? Or are we pretty much already there with some of the technology and these are just kind of wild variations? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. A quick musical interlude for you. Only about 35 odd miles up the road north from Yeovil, my hometown, is Bristol. It's always a place of sort of magic really, loads of music coming out of that city, and some of my favourite music comes from Ronnie Size and DJ Crust. And the Full Cycle record label, they produce loads and loads of fantastic drum and bass tracks over the years. I'd say jungle actually, they were right back at the very start of that whole scene. I used to like Ronnie Size's approach a lot actually. He had some really great energized drums, there's always a nice rolling feel, and he'd use some really fat bass lines as well. They used to sit really well together. He used to keep it simple and it always meant that the tracks were very memorable. They didn't rely on like heavy use of famous like samples from films or anything like that. A good way to check out some of Ronnie Size and the Full Cycle stuff is to check out the retrospectives. I think there's about 5 or 6 different volumes up on the Apple Music store or Apple Music streaming service, whatever you want to call it. So there's a nice jazzy vibe about some of the Full Cycle recordings. It felt raw and it felt kind of natural as well. They didn't use masses of like effects and reverb and things. It felt like people pulling together little sounds into a collage, a little bit like the early hip-hop mixtapes that you used to get. Just a nice rugged, raw sort of feel about the music. Go and check out one of the Full Cycle retrospectives featuring Ronnie Size. Thanks for tuning in people, hope you enjoyed today's video. Hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up like. Drop us a comment as well for the algorithm. My name's Ed Bud and I'll be seeing you